Everybody, welcome to One More Round. Today, I'm really excited. I was introduced to Isaiah maybe about a month ago through a mutual friend, Sonia, and he was telling me about the Ozzi app that he had created and a little bit about his background. And after we had about a 20-minute call, I was like, you'd be great to have on the podcast. I'd love to pick your brain and talk, and I think the people that are in the audience will be interested in this specific topic because it's about travel and the safety of travel and a problem that he really kind of tackled out of a need. So I'm excited to have this conversation today and appreciate you having you on.
Yeah, it's really great to be here and talk about what I'm really passionate about, which is safe travel.
Yeah, absolutely. So, as we kind of get into that, obviously that became a need that you felt you had to solve at a certain point. So kind of take us back with your background a little bit and how that all came about.
I mean, my journey to this part of my life really started when I was a kid. I grew up in Maryville in environments where safety wasn't always guaranteed. By 15, I had experienced 5 incidents of gun violence. My friends were killed in elementary school. My cousin was shot in his kitchen. I knew that the environment that I grew up in, it wasn't the safest for me and for children, and I had a passion that stirred in me to help other people. I became a Boy Scout. I was an Eagle Scout. Helping other people at all times is kind of like part of the gig, and so this experience with insecurity and then wanting to help other people, that coalesced basically in 2015. It was November 13th, 2015, and in Paris there was a distributed terrorist attack.
I remember that.
7 sites were hit, and there were several hundred people affected. I wanted to do something to help, but what can I do in Phoenix? But at the time, I was director of global data operations for American Express, and with my team, we wrote an algorithm that identified where those customers that were near those sites that were affected, if they swiped their Amex card in the proximity of those areas, we reached out to them proactively to see what kind of assistance they might need, whether that was transportation or medical assistance or psychological help, right, for having been through such a traumatic event. And that turned into an app that covered the world. We launched to more than 200 markets in 9 different languages, and about 50 million people use the service. But after a few years, I felt compelled to do something more. I wanted to help more people. I felt like it should be more than just those who have a platinum or black card that have access to this
Absolutely.
type of service, right?
So just to kind of marinate on that a little bit, so you were working for I think they're a Fortune 500 company, I would imagine, American Express. So probably worth, market cap's probably a couple $100 billion. And you're working with that company, and you come up with an idea that they ended up growing and scaling.
Yes.
That's pretty amazing. Yeah.
So, excuse me. I had a good leader. I had a leader who gave me the autonomy to stretch my wings. I had never been in a direct product development role before. I had primarily been in technology, doing data analytics, some coding with desktop apps and websites, but I had not done anything formally. Those were like just my in-house creations, right?
Yeah,
like
HTML, JavaScript, PHP, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but it was more just for me. Like I used those tools to help me do my job better. Like it wasn't ever those applications weren't usually externally facing, or even beyond our own team, like our own small team. So it was a new opportunity for me, and so I learned through that opportunity how to fundraise from internal leaders, right? So there were leaders that had budget, and I could fundraise, and I raised $1 million internally and did some entrepreneurship, and that allowed me to acquire the team and the coordination of hundreds of people around the company to build this technology out to support the world. It was a pretty awesome experience and a training ground for what became my company.
Yeah, it's got to be such an interesting process because like you have an idea and then you have resources.
Yeah.
But then I'm sure there's a lot of red tape, as far as gathering those resources and trying to build a team and potentially hiring or moving people as part of a task force, so to speak, on that. It obviously paid off huge because you were able to take that into your business life. So cool. I just wanted to marinate a little bit on that because it's a pretty interesting process. So now that it's become this thing within American Express, you wanted to offer it to people of every day, not just those that have resources like a black card and those types of things. Yeah. So what did you do at that point?
So it was a few years in, and talked to my leadership, and they wanted to focus on financial technology, which makes a lot of sense for a financial company.
Right.
But I had this passion. I wanted to help other people at all times. My three favorite merit badges, and I know this is really nerdy, but my three favorite merit badges from Boy Scouts were citizenship in the world, citizenship in the nation, and citizenship in the community. And I'm always really focused on those three pillars as like a personal ethos in service to other people. And I felt like if I didn't go after this problem, that I wasn't living up to my own personal expectations of myself.
Okay.
So I decided I was going to quit my job. And, I had never run a company before. I had zero experience, but I cashed up my 401k and I said, let's freaking go.
Wow.
And
how old were you at this point?
This was in 2018. So I was, I think, 34.
34,
Yeah.
And then married, kids, or anything like that?
Yeah. So I had kids right out of high school, actually.
Okay. Wow.
So my kids today are going on 23, 21, and 19. Yeah.
Almost empty nester, or maybe you are, actually.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. In fact, yeah. My oldest moved back in. It was convenient for her, but it's okay. She has her own life. She does her own thing, that's not a big deal.
But 8 years ago, so they're all teenagers, basically.
Yes.
You're married. So what's the conversation?
Divorce, actually.
Oh, divorce. You were divorced at the time?
Yes.
Okay. I was going to say, what's that conversation like? But,
Yeah.
It didn't matter. How were the kids feeling about this?
There was some uncertainty
Yeah.
for sure, and what my 401k did is it gave us a foundation. We still had a lifestyle, we were still traveling, we were still doing the things. The really, financially challenging or just business challenges of doing your own technology startup didn't hit right away. Yeah. So they were fine. There was some concern, but because that backing was there, that foundational cash flow was, it was okay, right? And within 6 months of starting the business, we actually had our first deal with the Department of Defense to provide traveling military families real-time information as they moved around the world for their orders. So, for example, if you are a State Department employee or you are a young married military family and you just get deployed somewhere, the soldier or the diplomat is going to get lots of training, right? Language, culture, all these things. But the spouse who still has to get the kids to school or pick up the groceries, they're not getting that same training. And so what we would do is we would provide the local information. Is this neighborhood safe right now? is there some type of emerging event that you should be aware of? We provide that information to those families.
Okay.
And so that was our first deal right when we started the company. And it was crazy because that deal happened over a bad sandwich.
So I remember you telling me this. So
Yeah.
you got to share this story. It's amazing because most entrepreneurs. So if I have to say something. So as a financial planner, number one, it's really gutsy to cash out your 401k. That is not advised by any imagination. But when you're solving a problem, you got to take big risks, right?
Yeah.
Or at least if you think you can solve that problem, and you got to have means to do it. You gamble, and you did, which was great. So you did that, and then now you're 6 months in and you get your first contract. But yeah, I want to hear the story again about the bad sandwich.
I mean, I was visiting one of our intelligence partners in DC, and at the time I was trying to avoid dairy. I was having some stomach issues, couldn't figure it out, and I was just cutting dairy out of my life, right? So we get there and having a great meeting about expansion, all these things, and lunch comes in and there's cheese on the sandwich, and I'm like, I don't want to risk it. I don't want to be sick this afternoon, anything like that, because we got a lot of stuff to do. And so we ended up walking across the street to a different sandwich shop, and we order a sandwich, and the CEO of the company that I was there to meet with happened to be eating lunch there. And I introduced myself, and I said what I was doing, and he said, hey, I think somebody might want to talk to you. So that afternoon we got an email from somebody to set up a meeting the next day, and the next day we were meeting with the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency and discussing this need that they had to serve the traveling families, for the entire government. It wasn't, and this is the crazy thing about it. This was the entire government we could serve, anybody that had a government credential, an ID. And we were on a pilot app store where the government could take commercial off-the-shelf technology like ours and bring it into a government ecosystem without a bunch of red tape that usually happens.
Right.
And the NGA, the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency, they did the vetting for the government, and then we could sell into it. And basically, we got paid pretty well for just even a download. And it was super exciting, as you can probably imagine.
Absolutely. Because give people an idea of how many people are traveling within the government, because that blew my mind.
Yes. It was an absolute dream come true. I mean, we started fundraising on it. I'd never raised money in my life, and things were great. And so I started the company mid-18. So 6 months later was March 19, and what we needed to do is we had to go through some significant background checks, right? Yeah. So we had our taxes audited. Everybody, not only the team but our board was audited, taxes and our backgrounds, and it took 12 months, but we finally got approval to launch on this app store, and it was March 11th of 2020, and we could not wait to serve traveling families around the world. And then 2 days later, on March 13th, 2020, the literal entire traveling world shut down. Wow. And this mountain that we had climbed, we could see the glory of our accomplishment of achieving that, and we knew that there was still more to go because of this huge opportunity, but it was completely wiped out from under us.
Yeah,
and it was devastating. We didn't know then what we do now, of course, about how bad it was going to be, but wow, it was pretty terrible.
Yeah, because the traveling need went completely away for a little while.
Yeah.
That's insane. Like literally the technology that you've been solving a problem forever, there was no need for it whatsoever for about, how long was it? It was about 2 months, if I remember right, that really a lot of the travel internationally anyway was completely stopped internally. So,
well, and there was a standing order from the Secretary of Defense that all travel for the military was basically suspended.
yeah.
And it was suspended for I think maybe like 18 months, something along those lines. And don't get me wrong, there was always people traveling for the government, no matter what, right? And what we were doing is we were just helping in pockets where we could, right? So diplomat here, some group redeploying, and they need fast intel over there. Those are the kinds of things that we were doing in this 2020, like to 2021 period. And the culmination of, or I would say kind of the pinnacle of our service to the government at the time was during the Afghanistan evacuation. We had the privilege of providing intelligence to the U.S. Senate to help families and interpreters and military servicemen and women get from outside of the airport into the airport safely. And basically we were coordinating with our intelligence teams who were behind the lines and of who was in control of checkpoints, whether they were Taliban controlled or U.S. or Allied controlled. And we provided that information, and it was pretty scary. There was the explosion that happened at the airport, and several Marines were killed. And it was a privilege to be able to participate in that and help in that moment. But it was difficult to scale, as you could imagine, right? There was this. We had a change in administrations at the time, so this program was actually incubated in 2016. The NGA program for the App Store, the GeoInt App Store. It was incubated in 2016 when Trump was elected, and then in 2020 when there was a shift in the administrations, all budgets got wrangled up, and this App Store got wrangled up in it too, and it basically got shut down. And so our ability to find another contract that was going to be just as good and a distribution mechanism that was going to be just as good was going to be challenging because there was no other program like that. And today there are multiple groups that are trying to bring commercial off-the-shelf technology into the government. In fact, the Southwest MAC here, run by Drew Trojanowski, is a fantastic incubator of early-stage government technology that he is looking to bridge that gap. But the breadth of those and availability of those programs wasn't there when we were shifting. When we had to figure out what to do with our company, we had told investors we have all this potential, and then rug got taken out from under us. So it was tough.
Because it's one thing to have an idea. Yeah. It's another thing to have an idea and a platform to be able to employ or deploy that idea. And that's what you had, and then that's kind of what went away. And it's like, oh, okay. So, obviously you were able to get through that challenge, but just so the audience understands a little bit, and I understand more, what are some of the signals, what are some of the things that, like if I'm, give you an example, so if I'm flying to DC, which I am next month, and then to New York, and I'm on the Ozzi app, like what are the types of signals that they're looking for? What am I being notified of? What are you guys looking for? And how is some of that information disseminated to let me know if it's safe?
Yeah, sure. So we connect to more than 250,000 sources around the world. Some are AI-driven, some are human-driven, right? So we have relationships with the largest private security firms in the world. And so when I dropped my youngest off at college in Portland, as we're doing a tour of the campus and stuff, I'm seeing the private security teams that I employ or that I contract with patrolling the streets and making sure that things are safe, and then reporting things up into basically the intelligence platform, which then gets disseminated to other people. So when there was a shooting next to the dorm, because there's a homeless shelter near where the dorm was, and there was sometimes some problems, I would get those alerts, and so would my child, right? And so if you're coming into DC and then into New York, there's several ways that we're going to help you stay safe. The first of which is we use a buddy system in the app. So you and your buddies can share your real-time location. So let's say that you put your hotel in as a spot in the app. Your family, your friends can get a notification when you arrive or when you leave, right? Or if you're expected at a meeting or a museum or something else. And there's some accountability on where somebody's at, right? Because the bigger challenge of especially solo travel, because it's so popular today, is somebody being able to find you if they need to, right?
Correct. Yeah. So for example, like I'm staying at the JW Marriott.
Yeah.
When I get there, I can have that like pinned or whatever, and instead of having to, if I'm going directly into a meeting and I'm like, I don't have time to call my wife right now,
Yes.
she can see on the app, like, okay, cool, he's been checked in, type of thing.
Absolutely. And which is really great for families and especially with kids, right?
Yeah, right.
But as my kids aged out of the home, they're like, Dad, we don't need you stalking us. Like, leave me alone.
Yeah.
We built this feature in called emergency contacts. And basically, I'm an emergency contact for my kids, and I get notifications when they arrive at home, work, or the other places that they have saved, right? But I don't have access to their real-time location unless they need help.
Okay.
If they need help, then basically the real-time location turns on for the emergency contacts, and I can see exactly what their last known location was, or their real-time location if they're moving. And so the first way that we help people is our buddy system, and it is so you can have the confidence to go out alone, but knowing that somebody can help you if it's an emergency.
Okay. No, that's such a cool feature, though. Like I can see it being not only important for families and stuff, but obviously, I think business travel.
Yeah.
Companies, obviously. A lot of times they have, one of my friends, she works for a large builder called Western Building Group, and she's traveling all the time.
Yeah.
And there's probably, I think, 50 employees that are traveling on a monthly basis.
Yeah.
For the company to be able to, okay, everybody's safe, something internal. Is that something you guys are working on other than just, not other than, are you working with companies like that to set things up for them, or is it just like download the app and you're trying to create awareness and they can use it or not, type of thing?
Yeah, so we go to market in several different areas, right? So we have a direct-to-consumer subscription where anybody can download the app. That idea, that burning desire to make this content available for everybody, it is available for everybody, right? But we also serve businesses looking to fulfill their duty of care requirements for traveling employees. Not sure if you're aware of this, but employers can be found negligent for duty of care issues in court to the tune of $40 million per incident for their traveling employees. There was a case where a student group from the Northeast was traveling to China. Student got bit by a tick, and the school on appeal lost and said, "Hey, you could have done more." And these companies, they have the obligation to do it. So what we do is we are working. We provide them the app services for all of our content, our buddies, our risk maps, the alerts, our travel advice, our guides, all of the content that we have in the app. We provide that, and later this year, we're actually going to be building out an annual travel insurance policy that can be attached to your Ozzi subscription.
Oh, cool.
And so if you do find yourself impacted, then the company's not on the hook for a big medical bill or a big emergency transportation bill or something along those lines. So we are innovating in the way that these services become available to small and medium-sized business owners, right? Because when I was doing this kind of duty of care-esque service for American Express, my customers were Microsoft and Dell and Apple and all of the huge names that were using American Express services at a corporate level, right? But your mom and pops that have 10 to 50 employees that are traveling, they don't have the ability to spend millions on an enterprise travel program. And so what we've made is basically a self-service duty of care program that you can tack on with travel insurance. And this is actually the first time that I've talked about the travel insurance publicly. We actually just signed the deal this week.
Wow.
With our travel insurance partner, Capstone Management. They are our licensing partner that enables us to market travel insurance. And our first 2 travel insurance policies are with Travel Insured International. We are providing comprehensive travel insurance straight in the app. You can manage your policy, get quotes, get an ID card, and have the confidence that when you're traveling, that you have a safety net. So you don't end up like my buddy of mine who, when we were in Costa Rica, broke his collarbone and had to pay out of pocket for basically getting himself stitched back up. So it's a really exciting development because most travel insurance companies don't have a mobile app. And this gives their customers a new way to engage with their brand and a differentiation for their brand amongst other travel insurance providers, right? So we're really excited to partner with Travel Insured International this year and Capstone to bring an innovative safety experience with insurance to the market.
That's great. I mean, it's a wonderful pairing. I mean, a lot of the big, and this might be something else you're working on. And congratulations, by the way, on the contract. I'm sure
Thank you.
That was I know you had kind of given me an idea that was going to happen, but I didn't know we could talk about it, so that's great. But it opens up a whole new world because insurance companies are always looking for ways to promote to customers.
Yep.
So like this is almost a new avenue for them to be able to promote Ozzi, which obviously is going to get more downloads and those types of things.
Yes.
But are you working like with like the Expedias of the world and those types of apps?
Yeah, so it's a good question. In fact, we have been working on distribution as like a primary goal, right? So by 2030, I want Ozzi to be distributed and available to at least 500 million people around the world, right? So through airlines, online travel agencies like Expedia, we partner with ancillary revenue partners. And basically what that is if you're whenever you're buying a flight, when you're going through the checkout line, they offer you services. Do you want a seat upgrade?
Right.
Do you want a this? Do you want a that? Right.
Extra leg room.
Exactly. Most of us pass by those things, right? But there is some real value in purchasing travel services before you fly, right?
Yeah.
And one of those that we are starting to do this year is making the Ozzi information, the Ozzi intelligence content available in the checkout line of airlines and OTAs, right? So when you are booking your flight, you will see the option to get a destination guide for your flight or for your destination, right? You'll have the ability to get alerts through outside of just the app, right? So we can email or text you when you have an alert that's available for your trip, and so you don't even need the app, right?
Yeah.
So getting that distribution this year is significant, and we anticipate by the end of the year having at least a 9-figure distribution level around the world through our various partners.
Oh, that's amazing. I was just kind of thinking through it in my brain, and for example, I'm flying. I'm using American Airlines.
Yeah.
Well, where do I have my ticket? On the American Airline
Yeah.
app. It'd be kind of neat, and I'm sure it'll be there someday to where you go in there and it'd be like, check Ozzy or check the safety, and you just literally click and it shows you the safety of where you're going internally within that.
Yeah.
I was also thinking it'd be kind of neat, like if down the line, like Ozzy was almost like a digital wallet for travel, like your plane tickets, your just anything. So it's like, oh, okay, I'm gonna go travel. It's my safety, but also, okay, cool. Here's my digital wallet that's got my travel, my car rental, my hotel, all that kind of stuff syndicated in one place. Because I don't really know that there is one syndication for that other than like a wallet. But I'm staying at the Marriott.
Yes.
I'm renting a car. I'm flying American Airlines. I'd like that to be in one place instead of having to go to multiple different types of places.
And automated spots related to your itineraries, right? So you know that you're going to the zoo or you're going here or there, everywhere, and you don't want to set up the app yourself. So we actually, it's a great idea, and we are working on that feature where we can connect to your email inbox and basically import an itinerary for your upcoming trip by itself, right? And then you can set up your buddies and you can do your other in-app things in a more automated way, right? Because the seamless experience is what customers expect these days, and we want to provide that. And I do see Ozzy being the ultimate travel companion. But what I think is what is the barrier to entry here, and the bigger challenge in building B2B deals has been the reluctance of brands to make customers aware of real-time safety conditions, right? So we have all been programmed to seek out what does TripAdvisor say, or what does somebody else's blog say, and they don't look at the fact that review was maybe written 5-6 months ago or 5-6 years ago, right? And it doesn't actually indicate the conditions that are happening on the ground today. And brands have been reluctant to that because they say, oh, well, people aren't going to want to travel anymore if we tell them what the risks are. And like, no. As long as there are humans breathing, people will travel, people will move. It's an innate thing that we all want to do, right? And 71% of travelers are actually concerned about their safety before they travel. And if you are the brand that offers the differentiation of letting people know that, hey, look, for example, Paris. Paris is gorgeous. Paris is romantic, historical, all of these things, right? But it's a big city, and in big cities, there's problems, right? If you are comfortable with knowing that, hey, a problem might happen, and I want to get informed, I want to be informed of it when it does happen so I can avoid it, that's the kind of person that we want to travel with. And I think that most travelers want that type of companion to travel with as well. People aren't ignorant of the fact that safety is a dynamic thing. No,
I mean, it's kind of, I don't know, I don't see why the brands would have that thought, because I mean, just think about it from a local perspective. A lot of people, 9-to-5ers, they're waking up in the morning, they're turning on CBS or whatever. What's on there? The weather and the traffic, right? That's reported on every 30 minutes. And if there's bad traffic, does that stop them from going to work? No, they're still going to go. They just know that they got to leave a little earlier, right?
Exactly.
So it's like that's the thought process that people use that information for. So I don't see why they would have that mindset.
So we see some brands turning around. So I was at the Phoenix Travel and Adventure Expo this last weekend, and there were several tour operators and cruise lines who are like, actually, we think that you can help us increase our attach rates of people buying shore excursions on cruises. We think that we can give people more confidence when they're booking a more authentic, defined by the tour operator experience, right? Because if you're going into places that you've never heard of in India or the Middle East or Africa, and you aren't sure because you don't have any good reliable information.
Right. And certainly like real time.
Yes.
Yes.
The tour operators now can be empowered with it. But I will say that I talked to a tourism board, I won't say the country, this weekend, and the woman said, listen, I said, what is the number one reason that people want to go to your country, and what is the number one reason people don't want to go?
Right.
Number one reason was the beaches. It was gorgeous beaches. That's why they wanted to go. Number one reason they don't want to go is the safety concerns of the country. And I said, well, hey, I got an app for that.
Yeah.
And one of the board members of the tourism board for this country came over and said, listen, we are never going to try to answer the is it safe question for our customer or for our tourists. We just never are going to try that. And she said, listen, if it's your time to go, it's your time to go. And we don't think that we should leave. At Ozzi, we don't think that safety should be left to chance.
Right.
If you have the information to make better decisions, you can be empowered to go further than you've ever gone before in your travels.
Yeah, I'm thinking about it, and forecasting in the future. Like I could see a time where the Ozzi score, we'll call it the Ozzi score for a city or whatever, that's what you're checking, that day.
Yeah.
Kind of like when you go on and you check the weather. It's like, oh, is it going to rain this afternoon? And like that score can go on a scale of whatever, but like that's an important thing. Oh, what's the Ozzi score today? Boom. Okay, cool. It's safe to go down. Or maybe not, right now or whatever the case is, but I think every city could have their own Ozzi score. That would be
we provide scoring in the app today, and those scores, what they represent is they represent the general safety of a particular city.
Yeah.
Or if we don't have that city coverage, because there's a lot of cities around the world, what's the safety of that country? But we go further than that, because you can get right now like safety ratings from like the State Department or lots of different sources online, right? What we do is we actually go a little bit further than that, and we actually show you the neighborhoods in a city that have extra risk. So, and this is really important because when you are going to your vacation rental site or you're going to your hotel site, they're not telling you if their hotel or the home you're looking at is in a safe neighborhood, right? I've shown up at an Airbnb and who's in a bad spot, and there was a literal gas leak in the basement where we're supposed to be staying, and we bounced out of there quick. This was in Washington D.C. and that information just wouldn't be available to normal people right at the time. And so we go beyond just ratings, and we show you on the map areas to avoid. And it could be there is tourist issues like pickpocketing, which is common, right?
Right, yeah.
But if you're going into some place and you don't remember exactly where it was, you just knew it was there, you'll get an alert when you go into that area. You zip up your bag, right? Or maybe you move your wallet to your front pocket instead of your back pocket, right? Or you make sure that you put your phone away. Those types of things. Just as a quick reminder that, hey, this is how you should stay aware in this area. But it's also, avoid this park at night because there's drugs and prostitution. Avoid this neighborhood because there's gang activity, right? There are areas of Chicago where we warn people that innocent people are sometimes hit by stray bullets because of the issues that exist in those neighborhoods, right? And so we go a little bit further than that, and then when there's an emerging issue, we will send out alerts to customers. So we will let you know that, hey, there are protests happening here, and there's a roadblock, or hey, there's been this mass casualty event. You need to avoid this. And sometimes, like for example, when there's evacuations, we will provide the locations. Like this was really key during the fires in California. We provided the shelter locations for people that were evacuated, and also the pet evacuation centers. So people had an easy resource of, I don't have to Google this, it's just in my pocket and when I need it for my emergency needs. And the thing is our subscriptions are accessible, right? So if you want just the coverage in your state, it's $3.99 a month. Coverage in your country, it's $5.99 a month. Coverage for the world is $9.99 a month, right? So if you're a frequent traveler, or you just want to stay safe while you're at home, we make the content accessible to people without that gigantic financial burden that we talked about earlier, where usually to have this information you have to be a government, like we were serving with the government, or you have to be a major corporation that has access to the money to do this. We have built an engine that can democratize safety for everyone.
Oh, it's amazing. Amazing. Well, one last topic, because we were talking about the 250-year anniversary this year of the United States. A lot of big things happening, but specifically the World Cup. You said you're a huge soccer fan.
Yeah.
And with the World Cup coming, I think you had mentioned there was like 500 million?
Yeah, 500 million ticket requests.
Right?
Around the world.
I think there's like 9 billion people, so basically 1 out of 18. I'm sure there's a lot of duplicates, right? But because of that, there's going to be so much travel within North America. What are some of the things that people should be aware of? Obviously, download the Ozzi app, right?
Sure.
That's great. But like, what are some of the things you guys will be looking for? What do you think that a traveler should be on alert for?
Yeah, so there are various things to be concerned about right now. So the World Cup, which is going to be hosted in 3 countries, Canada, the US, and Mexico this year, starting in June, is going to be the most attended sporting event in history. They expanded the teams. There's 48 countries now participating. And so there's going to be a lot of people. And on top of that, we have the 250th anniversary of the founding of the U.S., the country, the United States. And so there's going to be a lot of travel coming in right now, right? So the things that people should be aware of is several things. So one, it's going to be protests. Right now there's significant protest activity around the United States, and how that protest is going to impact your ability to get to the game, to dinner, to lunch, wherever you need to go is important. Right. There are also concerns about visas and immigration, right? So there were, I believe it was 75 countries where visas were suspended just recently. And some of those nations are World Cup nations, right? And so how does, if you're planning on coming to the US and you want to know if there's been a change to your ability to be in the country or to travel to the country, we're going to provide that information as soon as it hits, as soon as the release is issued from the State Department or wherever, right? Also, LGBTQ considerations, right? So what are your, if you are part of that community, how safe is it to be where you're at, right? And so what we do is currently our partners, we're coordinating with local police, we're monitoring the protest activity, we're monitoring crime trends, and we are making this content available out through the app for travelers that are coming in from any of these countries. We think that with the travel insurance pairings that we offer, we can really give people peace of mind that are coming into the United States, right, that are concerned about potential healthcare costs, concerned about potential immigration action, concerned about potential violence. We can help people understand that, hey, this is maybe happening in one part of the country, but not in LA or Mexico City or any of the other venues around the country where things are going to be happening. The areas that you are going to want to be most aware of and like conscious of your surroundings are going to be at the stadiums themselves, right? That's obvious. But like, for example, in New York, the stadium is actually in New Jersey, right? But there's going to be tons of people in Times Square and everywhere else in that downtown area of New York. And so knowing what you're getting into, even if you're just a resident of the city, you know, knowing where to avoid because there's a bunch of traffic, right? Or hooliganism from people that are just, you know, going crazy, enjoying the games. It's my favorite sporting event. Only happens every 4 years. I can't wait for it, but I know that with World Cup soccer, things can get a little crazy sometimes.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome, man. Well, this is a great conversation. I feel like you're solving such a big need right now, and I'm really excited to see where this continues to go for you. It's obviously, you know, 7 years now, or 8 years, you know, now. So it's going to be cool to continue to watch and see it grow and get integrated kind of in the ecosystem of how people will get information. Pretty cool that you're on our backyard here.
Yes.
Because you guys are Phoenix, Scottsdale. Where are you at?
So we're actually at Grand Canyon University.
Oh, GCU.
So we are in the Innovation Center, and there have been some really fantastic partners in Arizona. You know, I've been talking a lot about me and what the company has done, right? But I have a team of people, and I have a community that is behind me, right? It has never been just a one-man show.
Yeah.
And I'm very thankful for GCU. I'm thankful for the folks over at Venture Madness, which was a big catapulting win for us. I'm thankful for all of our investors, my children. You know, there's been quite a bit of support for what we've been doing. And we couldn't do it without the help from our family, loved ones, and the community.
That's awesome. About how big is the team right now? How many hands are touching this?
About 15.
15? That's great.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. Well, I appreciate you coming on today. It was awesome. Hey, guys, I know you got a lot out of this. If you see some of the clips that are floating around, share it out with people. Download the Ozzi app. It's on the App Store. I was going to do it this morning. I forgot. But I think we're gonna check it out on my. I'm an Android guy, you know, so he saw my Android, and I'm one of those rare people, so we're going to check out some stuff there. But we appreciate you, and we will see you next time.
Thank you.